All right. Welcome back to the 1-800-FunkSauce.com show. This is episode 16. As you probably noticed, some things have changed. It's not animated. You probably noticed that this is me. I'm really sitting right here. We're being filmed with a real physical camera. Everything's real. The neon sign is real. The lava lamp is real. There's a table here. It's all really happening. So that's one of the big changes. Hello. There's no music. I don't think we need a theme song all the time. I recorded a theme song like, I don't know, 10 times last year, and those are there if you want to hear those. And yeah, just music in general. I spent the past 10 years putting out on the internet music albums. So if you want music from me, that is all there, and you can go to 1-800-FunkSauce.com and probably find where to listen to those things. So hopefully. So no animation, no music, no guests. It's just going to be me, and potentially Javier will pop in as he sees fit. But you can expect pretty much a whole lot of me here talking to myself and to you about whatever I want. There might be a little bit of comedy. There will be some tragedy, probably. It will be all sorts of things, and I will answer every question over time. So just keep listening, and you'll get the whole truth about the whole world. But yeah, no guests for now. Probably forever, but we'll see. There is a neon sign, so if you're wondering, you've made it this far, a couple minutes in, you're like, why should I be listening to, this guy? I could listen to anyone. There's a big, neon sign behind me that says 1-800-FunkSauce.com on it, and that's basically just the stamp of, how important everything here is. Everything is real. I already covered that. All of this stuff is, I can touch it. I can feel it. I can smell it, potentially. But it's all really here. It's all really happening. There won't be a lot of editing. That's extra work for me. I'm doing all the stuff here. There's no one over there that is, help me out on the computer or anything like that. So I'm trying to give it to you raw, because it's the easiest thing to do. The show will be longer. It was 11 and a half minutes before, and there was a lot of really good stuff that just didn't quite make it in because of that, and it made editing the show very challenging every time. So I'm just gonna talk until it feels sensible to stop talking, and then yeah, that's what it'll be. So there's silence, and we don't want silence, because if there's too much silence for too long, then you start to hear your own thoughts, and some of those might be ones that you don't want to hear, you've been avoiding, you don't want to follow through on something or make some change that's begging to happen, and you just kind of want to let someone else talk. And I'm here to do that for you for, a handful of minutes per week, free of charge. And for now, there's no sponsors, there's no advertisers. Of course, if people want to pay me money to shill for their products, they can email me at 1-800-funksauce.com @gmail.com. One more thing. This is the 1-800-funksauce.com show. I will refer to it as such, and I hope that you will keep in mind that the 1-800-funksauce.com show is a show, but you will find it now in the places where people find podcasts. So if you're looking through all of the podcasts and you see the 1-800-funksauce.com show, don't be alarmed. I put it there for you. Because before, to get to this show, you had to go to 1-800-funksauce.com, and you had to actively go and get it every week. But now, I know that people like for things to just come to them, so this show will come to you wherever you subscribe to those things, hopefully. So that's one of the changes. We don't have to call this a podcast. I like that it's a show. There's a video element to the show on YouTube, and you may just be listening, but know that there's video of the show. You can see the neon sign. You can see this lava lamp. You can see I'm about to take a drink from a beverage. This is not water. We'll talk a little bit about that later. So those, I think I covered all of the changes in the show that have happened. I hope that good things happen for you and for the show, and that hit all of those buttons. If you see any buttons with a thumbs up or a star or a I don't know, if it says subscribe or follow or favorite or good job, push all of those buttons for me, and then hopefully your device will tell you to listen to this again later when it's newer. All right? Cool. So yeah, those are all the changes to the show. I'm going to get into the show now, and like I said before, I'm just going to kind of talk about things. I may talk about what's in the news. I may talk about just what's on my mind, what's happening in my life. I may tell jokes. I may say things that are none of those things. But I assure you I will be speaking. The first thing I really wanted to talk about to start out was, I'm really invested in, maybe not invested in, I'm interested in the human potential and what we can do, what we're capable of. And every time the Olympics are supposedly happening this summer after being postponed last summer. So supposedly those are coming right up. And every time they come, I have the same thought, and no one's ever been able to explain to me why it's not like this. But and I'll tell you, I'm not an athlete. You know, I don't have any gold medals. I may have blue ribbon, ice cream, but no medals for athleticism. So I'm not an expert, and I don't have the whole story. But what I do know is they don't let the athletes do all of the steroids that they might otherwise want to. And I don't think that that's appropriate for the nature of competition and, you know, physical competition. Like, I feel like we want to see people running faster and further and throwing the shot put thing further and, you know, skating in more circles or whatever. We want more. We want to do better, right? So I think it's silly to put that, you know, limitation on the athletes, especially if they want to, you know, in a way give their body to science and the spirit of sporting, you know. I would like to see someone throw one of those javelins way out in you know, into a parking lot. They have to use a drone to go find where the javelin went. And, you know, just all those things. Wrestling, Olympic wrestling should more resemble like a Mortal Kombat. That's the peak of what we've got going on, is it not? So we should have people ripping each other in half in there to like, show us what you've got, you know. And not just the Olympics. I think that all of the stuff, you know, the NFL could, I think, benefit from a lot less limitations. Who doesn't want to see a guy throw a football through another guy and then a third guy catches the ball? The football goes through the man, through his torso, just straight through like a bullet, because the quarterback is jacked up on all of the juice. He is just ready for sporting. And of course, you know, any injury or fatality in sports is really unfortunate. But I think, you know, the guys know what they're signing up for. They know, the studies have come out that have said if you smash your brain against other people's brains all day, every day, bad things happen to your brain. And, you know, they still go to it. They're paid handsomely to perform sports. So why not see what everyone's fully capable of, you know? The Tour de France, I don't know if you guys remember, for a while Lance Armstrong won like all of the Tour de France's in a row. And then he got cancer and he came back and won like even more. And then a few years later, the Tour de France people were like, or the bike people came out and they're like, yeah, everyone was all doped up. And so whoever, you know, the people, the real winner is the guy that was in like 85th or something insane, because everybody was doped up. It really just makes you say, like, you know, that it feels like a problem with the rule more than it is with the athletes. They want to do their very best, and they have relationships with their doctors and their athlete coach people, and they say, hey, the best thing for me in this race is going in a little tent by the side of the road here and swapping out my blood with the blood of an infant so I can go faster up this next mountain. And if they're willing to do that, and they think that that's the best thing for them in that race, they're not throwing rocks at the other racers. There's no, like, let them get juiced up. Do we not want to see someone do the Tour de France in like 3 hours total and just completely melt their bike along the whole thing? They're just this mass of muscle and the blood of children just pumping down the hills of France. That's what that should be by now. It's 2021, but we have all of these, like, you hold on, slow down. We don't want the masses to be afraid of what an athlete can be, I guess. You don't want the shot put to end up in the stands, but you do. Baseball, people are out there with their mitts, so they just have to learn to adapt. You go do the shot put thing and you need to wear a suit of armor or something. I don't know. They'll figure it out. People are adaptive and flexible, and they'll rise to the new challenges of observing new powers that we possess. But I think it's not sensible for people in suits to sit around and dictate what the people in bicycle shorts or whatever people wear, what they can and cannot put in their veins while they're doing their sports. It's not right. And for the Olympics, you have all these countries, and some of the countries may or may not have access to the best juice, and I think that for the Olympics, that's all right. It's country versus country, is it not? So if one country has been putting more of their brain power into juicing up their athletes, then they'll have that competitive edge, and that, it is what it is. But maybe I'm completely lost on all this sporting stuff, and the purity is essential to it, but I really don't think so. But if I am wrong, you can email me at the same address as the ad people. It's 1-800-FUNK-SAUCE, DOTCOM @gmail.com. There's no dashes in the email address. Just let me know how wrong or right I am about the athletes should be allowed to get as juiced up as they want. That's one proposed change. So I made a bunch of changes to the show, and this next, I'm gonna go through a few proposed changes that I have for things that aren't this show but are part of our world. The first one being that the juice should flow. And I think, like, I understand the purists a little bit. So if they want to have a kind of sideshow of, like, we have the Olympics where everybody's at full human potential. We're really pushing out from the center of that circle. We're pushing it out all the time, getting more and more juiced up and jacked up and just running super duper fast and stuff, right? And then the week after we'll have, like, the Special Olympics, which is awesome. They need to keep having the Special Olympics, and just by the numbers, they probably charge a little bit less for the ads that they air during the Special Olympics versus the primetime super monster athlete Olympics, steroid marathon stuff. And I think the same would be true for the Sober Olympics. Once you had the competition where they were, jumping over all the hurdles in one bound and then just keep running straight through a wall type thing. Once you had that, I think the Sober Olympics would become extremely unpopular. But I could be wrong. But why not see? Why not see what we're capable of first? And then if we need to shut it down because people are, like if we can't harvest enough metal from the earth to make into the weights that these people are capable of lifting, then we have a different problem that we need to solve. But why not see if we can get there? Sports. I think that's all I've got on sports. For people less into sports, like myself, I'm not an active sportsman. Those moving walkways that they have in the airport and at Disney World and stuff like that, where you just stand on them, you get on it, and it's flat, and then you can just stand there and it moves you along. Well, I was thinking that we could potentially implement those things in the cities in order to solve potentially two problems at once. First problem being walking. Who wants to walk? You want to park your car right by the place that you're going, but there's maybe only 3 parking spots there, but there's 50 parking spots like 7-8 blocks away. It's like, I don't know if I want to walk 8 blocks. I don't want to take a hike to go to lunch, right? It wasn't part of the plan. So, but if you replaced all of the sidewalks with those moving walkway things, then you could kind of park wherever, and as long as the weather wasn't too horrible, then all you got to do is stand there, and you could look at things on your phone as you do until you're outside. You're just right outside the place you're going. You just step off of the moving walkway. So there would no longer really be a need to do all of this walking. You just get right out of your car and get out of the moving walkway, right? And I think that would be, and then you think about like, well, there's one direction and the other direction. Well, how do you set it up? Do you make it into a loop? And that's a good question. And it depends on how you want to address, other problems that cities sometimes have on sidewalks, whether that be people loitering or sleeping or camping or setting up a impromptu flea market or whatever, right? I know that I've heard that, I've seen that a lot of cities have, homeless problems that they don't necessarily know how to address, or maybe they know how to address but don't want to implement certain solutions. I don't know. I'm not involved with that really. But if you had your moving walkways in a loop, then things are pretty safe for anyone that you want to feel comfortable to loiter or like stand around smoking cigarettes or like pitch in a tent or anything other than walking from one business to give money to another business to create or give money, right? So if you had a loop, that would be, pretty progressive. I think pretty nice. 'Cause then you get on one corner and then you hang around a while on the moving walkway and you end up right where you started, right? And it's like no big deal. But if you're one of those cities that's more inclined to put like switchblades into their park benches, so if you like are on it too long, you just get stabbed in the shoulder or something. If you're one of those, you set it up so, depending on your geography, whether you've got canyons, whether you've got swamps full of alligators, or whether you've got, some kind of a cliff, you could set up your moving walkways to have endpoints so that if someone did take a nap on what used to be the sidewalk, or if someone was, smoking a cigarette but they're on 30 Xanax bars and they forgot that they're a person, or whatever kind of, issues that people might have, where they don't have, they're not supposed to be on the sidewalk, or they forget they're on the sidewalk or whatever. Whatever. If you don't realize what's going on when you're on the moving walkway, at a point, it will dump you just off a cliff into a canyon or straight into the mouth of an alligator. Some of these cities in Florida, I think, could use that. But it's just one idea. I don't necessarily condone people being fed directly to alligators, and I think that for the most part, people should be able to sleep where they want, but not on the walkway. Not on the walkway, please. It's so people can not walk. I'm not trying to be anti-homeless, or I'm really not trying to be anti any group, of people, because people find themselves in these groups and classifications for all kinds of reasons, many of those reasons outside of their control, many of them within sometimes, but a majority of the reasons that people end up within the groups that they're in are largely outside of their control. So, and I don't want to say that everyone should be fed to alligators, basically. I would like it if I stopped getting emails from people trying to sell me things after selling me things. Like this couch, for example. I got this couch, and then I was waiting on so not this couch, but a couch before this that I ordered through Wayfair. Shout out Wayfair for being like one of the worst companies that I've ever had the pleasure of attempting to do any sort of business with. Really, if Wayfair shut down, I would be only happy. But anyway, so I ordered this couch on Wayfair, and then I kept waiting to get the next email like, hey, we've actually sent you the couch that you paid for, But instead of that, it was like every 2 hours I get an email that's like, hey, we're having a sale on couches. And it's like, it's one thing, it's all bad, right? Because A, you should have sent me the couch that I just bought from you. At least send me the couch that I just paid for before you start selling me the next couch. That could be a start with that. But it's like it's not just Wayfair, it's not just the couch people. You go out and buy a pair of pants from some store and they get your email for giving you like 10% off, and you just realize that you sold them your email for like $3, but they're going to sell your email to everyone who will pay for it for any amount they're willing to give them. It could be a fraction of a cent. They're happy to just pass it along to the next salesman or whoever, you know, whoever's keeping tabs, the mailman. We might get into that if we have time, but yeah. If I could not get the emails, you go and buy a pair of pants, and before you're out the door with the pants, before you've ever put the pants on outside of the store, you've got 30 emails like, hey, look at all these pants that we've got. We know you like pants. It's like, yeah, you got me. But you gotta have some respect for me and my life. And if I'm walking onto your pants store with a bag of pants, and before I've put that bag down, you've tried to sell me another pair of pants, you've made me upset. And if you've made me upset, I just start thinking about all those other pants stores right away. And then I'm going to go to my email and I'm going to look at the last of the 50 emails that you sent me in the 15 minutes that it took me to get back to my car. And I'm going to hit that unsubscribe button, and then you're going to say, all right, we'll take you off the list. But for whatever reason, it's going to take us like 90 days or something. Like we got you on our list and emailed and sold down the entire river in like 45 seconds flat. But if you want to get off just our list, it's going to take 90 days. And by the way, everyone we sold your email to, you're going to have to go down the line each and every time and ask them, please, for the love of God, stop emailing me about whatever it is. I bought a mask last year because COVID, you know. I just bought a mask because everyone needed a mask. You needed a mask to do anything, and I did a few things. Not very many things, but I did a few. And you know, a year later, because I bought that mask, I get emails now, and the subject is like 70 new variants of COVID-19 discovered this week. I'm like, whoa, for the love of God, here we go again. And then you open it up and it's like, we've got masks on sale. And it's like, all right, for this reason alone, I hope that the vaccines all work out and that the mask salesmen move on. It is time to move on. Everybody's got their mask. Move on. Sell someone a vaccine card holder keychain. All right? Stop emailing me about the strains to try to sell me another mask. I already have the mask. It still appears to be working in that it lets people know that I'm wearing it when I'm around them. And it does all the other things that masks do. But yeah, that I think I've covered it. Don't just stop emailing me. If you know, when I want to buy stuff, I'll go buy stuff, and I do it plenty. Leave me alone with the emails, for the love of God. But you guys, if you're not trying to sell me something, if you want advice for problems in your life, if you want to tell me a funny story, if you want to send me a photo of your cat or your dog or your lizard, you can email me. I appreciate getting emails into the show. The address has changed to 1800 Funk Sauce. No spaces, no dashes. DOTCOM at gmail.com. So send me an email. I welcome your emails. For everybody that is not a corporation or a business, if you are a person and you are not selling me things, I welcome your email. And if I have advice to give you, I will give it either on the show or I may write you back. I probably won't write you back, but I might. I reserve the right to. And this is me opening the door to you to communicate with me directly. I don't have a producer or a director or a manager. You can just email me and we'll see how it goes. That if so, I said don't email me to sell me things, but if you want to use me to sell your things to other people by paying me, if you want to give me money or Bitcoin or whatever, not like, exposure bucks or whatever. If you want to pay me currency to say things, you can email me too, for sure. And we can probably work something out. So I've covered stop emailing me, email me. Let's turn to our Magic 8 Ball and get some predictions. I've been wondering a lot lately who the next president of the United States might be. So why not ask the Magic 8 Ball that? Who is going to be the next president of the United States? O.J. Simpson. Let's ask it one more time, just to be sure he knows what it's talking about. It's Magic 8 Ball. It's old tech, but it should still work. Okay. Who's going to be the next president of the United States? The Juice, O.J. Simpson. All right. Well, according to the Magic 8 Ball, you know what? Let's ask the Magic 8 Ball just one more time to make sure that who will be the next president. Whoa. A lot of power here. Of the United States. If you ask me again, I'll stab you. O.J. Simpson. All right. Well, I'm not completely shocked. I think that President O.J. would be fine based on what we've been through and where we're at and where we're going. OJ is pretty presidential. I know that he golfs a lot. He's got a lot of experience with golfing. Most of the presidents in my memory have been golfers. He wrote that book, If I Did It, So he wrote at least that one book, which is, again, very presidential. I don't know of any presidents that weren't writing books. Um, we'd like to see that strong black leadership. I think OJ could provide that with a smile. Um, he's got experience doing murders, which I can't think of any presidents that haven't, if they didn't kill personally, I believe all the presidents have at least had a few people killed. So he's got that under his belt. We like to see experience in a president. Yeah, I think OJ would be great. And they could ride him around, and they change out that presidential SUV or whatever they've got now. They get a big stretch Bronco, and OJ rides around to that with like the Secret Service, and they double up on Secret Service. So we have like, there's the Secret Service that are protecting the president from everyone else, and then there's the Secret Service that protects everyone else, from the president. And I mean, I don't know if we would need that second one. I think probably the stabbings are lying behind OJ. And with Trump, I think we saw that we more or less proved that the president is completely above the law. So technically, if President OJ did want to just cut someone's head off with a knife, that would be fine. So thank you to the Magic 8 Ball for that valuable insight into our near future. I think that'll be really fun. In the news this week, you can find good news. I've found you can, if you specifically search Google for like, tell me the things that are good, then it'll tell you. It'll be like, yeah, there's more book reading and more eating, and some people are still having kids, and like religion is down or something. I think that would be good news. But yeah, you can find the good news stuff. But most of the stuff that we get in any kind of like news cycle or whatever it is now is not great. We've had a lot of that Israel and Palestine, right, this week, which I am 100% unqualified to discuss in any real capacity. I will say that it would be cool if nobody did any bombings. That would be, I think, great. But I know that there's a complex situation there that I don't know the whole big picture of, but in my very simple mind, if we didn't, or not we, if anyone, we're all people, right? And the things that make us different from each other are mostly things that are completely outside of our control, right? So, for that reason alone, if we could reduce the bombings, not just there, but really everywhere, if we could not do any bombing, I think that would be pretty good.
That was easy.
Also in the news, I guess, you all know about Greta Thunberg and how she's going to be the next leader of the free world, and I don't know if VP to OJ or what. I know she's Swedish, so we have to change some things around. But she was talking about, I am trying to not swear on this podcast, and I also am trying to not refer to it as a podcast. And I just did both of those things, and it's more important to me to not edit than it is to be perfect. So you'll be the judge of what you end up actually hearing after. But anyway, as I was saying, Greta was talking smack about China and how China's doing all this pollution, killing the planet or whatever, which is probably true, right? They make a lot of stuff, and making stuff makes a big mess, kind of. But they came back with, like, they were saying that, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I think they said something about, like, based on her own growth, she should be, like, doing a better job of monitoring her own emissions. And I know that things get lost in translation and, you know, bounced around and stuff, but to me that could mean one of two things, and both of them are not appropriate for a country or a country's news puppet to be saying. One, they could be saying that she's fat, and that means she doesn't care about the planet, and that, I think, is a pretty low blow. And if that's the case, that, you know, bad. Don't say stuff like that. You know, I don't know if they were, you know, it's insane for me to be looking up in our big old world, and you have this Swedish person who's like, hey, China, you're killing the ocean and the sky, and China's like, well, you're fat. I don't think that's good. But the thing about the emissions to me could also be like, are they trying to say that, like, she's farting? Because that, I think, is even worse. You know, not everybody is fat, and not everybody is thin. People are, you know, all over the place, and you can be thin one year and fat the next, and thin the year after. You can do whatever you want, right? And, you know, who hasn't put on a few pounds, you know, during quarantine? Or I'm not excluded from that group, but you know, you have some degree of control over your body weight, some degree. Some have more control over it, some have less. But everybody farts. Like, anybody that is telling you that they're not farting is definitely lying to you. And they're lying to you about something crazy to lie about. So you should know, you're hearing it from me, the truth. Everybody farts. So I really, really hope that this Chinese newspaper or whatever is not trying to call Greta Thunberg out for farting. Because that's it's not even apples and oranges, right? You have, it's like your country and the lack of regulation around, who knows what it is. I don't know the technical details of why Greta thinks China is killing the ocean maybe faster than they need to be, but I'll defer to her on that stuff. But either way, in no way is the appropriate response to be talking about, farting or personal body weight. I think that's preposterous. So I'm not trying to be anti-China. I think they got a country there, they got a society and stuff. So that it's made of people, etc. So we're all people. I'm not. I don't necessarily think they're bad people. I don't know if Greta's 100% correct, but it sounds like she's probably right if their best response is, well, you farted. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I thought that was insane, and I wanted to comment on how crazy that is that they said that. I was reading, or I was looking at YouTube today, and one of the videos it wanted to show me was called this fact check. There are no magnets in your COVID-19 vaccine. And that's great. I think it's hilarious how people are scared of magnets in particular. Because magnets are like magic to, like, even the Insane Clown Posse, I think, had a hard time figuring out how magnets work. And if they're struggling with it, you can only imagine the average person, especially the average, deeply vaccine-averse person. How do magnets work? Magnets could be, as far as anybody knows, far more dangerous than any vaccine ever known to man. Magnets could be it, and we just have them, all rolling around because we just don't know yet. But this video wanted to assure people that there are no magnets in the vaccine. Microchip? Probably not. Right? And I don't want to even say the vaccine word too many times because I don't want to spread any misinformation. But I can tell you that the headline of a video I saw that I did not watch was that there are no magnets in your COVID-19 vaccine. And I think that should make you feel better. Because we don't know everything there is to know about magnets. Not good. Anything with a little bit of unknown is horrifying. Magnets could be it. You want to be very careful with magnets, especially if you are one of those Chuck E. Cheese robots or any kind of robot. If you are a non-humanoid cyborg type of listener, you want to be even more afraid of magnets than your average person. The fear of magnets needs to, absolutely must, not only translate to whatever AI cyborg species we create after humans, but it has to be amplified. They need to be horrified of magnets, and it starts with us. So be afraid. we're getting pretty close up here to this being long. But I mentioned that I was going to talk about how this isn't water, so I will. It's not water. Human beings are like 80% water or something like that. And I mean, for that reason alone, no thanks. Like, I don't want to drink you at all. And Javier is almost pushing over this tripod. But yeah, I do not want to drink you. And, you know, fish live in the water. There are manatees in the water. There's turtles. Turtles poo in the water. And then you drink the water. No thanks. No thanks. I don't need... There are crabs in the water. Down there. Crab walking all over each other. Just... Oh. I'm trying to keep this real clean. But the crabs are in the water. All over each other in nasty, nasty ways. And then and then someone's putting it in a bottle and you're drinking it right up. There's seals in the water doing unimaginable things. And you're coming up right up behind them and taking a big drink. And that's fine. I know that water is a very popular beverage. Many of you won't agree with me on this. They have it at all the restaurants. People say, "Can I get a lemon in the water so I don't taste the otter urine? So I don't taste the whatever they had to put in the water, whatever chemical they had to add to the water so that you didn't taste, you know, the crab in the water, you know." I'm good. This? See, here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is because they haven't paid me yet. And I'm not giving out sponsorships for free on this show. I can tell you one thing for sure. Nothing could survive in this for more than a few minutes. You want to take your crab party into a big old tub of this? I don't think so. Dead. They'd be dead probably before they even got to the bottom of it. It's bubbly, which is good. Anything bubbly is better than anything not bubbly, unless the thing is like a milkshake, which I would try. Bubbly, if someone had that going on, you can email me about that. But yeah, it's not water. It's got a little zest. Puts a little pep in my step. And it's very fresh. You can rest assured that nothing could survive in it, and that makes me happy, and that's all I have to say about my beverage right now. Someday, if I get in touch with, or they get in touch with me about letting you know my beverage of choice, then we will cross that bridge when we get there. For now, there are no sponsors, there's no ads, there's probably very little audience. And I encourage you, if you enjoyed any moment of this, to share it with your people and anyone that you think might enjoy such things. I thank you for tuning in to this episode of the 1-800-FunkSauce.com show. I encourage you to email me with any of your thoughts or words or whatever you have. Let me know about that, and I will see you next week.